Okay, so for today, right, what we should do is okay. Today we'll just revisit one of the concepts which we covered yesterday on the browser context. It was about two different things. One was for the on event, right? How to handle events using on, and there is another counterpart to this, which is wait for event. Right? I was trying to explain like why would you see both this using both the stuff, right? You would be able to wait for the event to occur and then take some action on it, right? But the way these two things works is very different. Okay, so what we were discussing yesterday was I was saying that first of all, let me start writing differences here, right? The difference here is first of all, the thing is like let's understand the purpose first. The purpose of this on method, right, where you define the event to be taken, right? It's a page, right, and then a function over here where you will define the actions which you have to take, which you have to take. In case of wait for event, there is only you only define the event, right? Whatever event you are waiting for to happen. Okay, you do not define the action here. Now the purpose of on and wait for event was like with on, right? If you wanted to have to run this action, right, every time to run action when event occurs, right? Then you should use what? You should use this on thing. But if let's say you have only like a very specific case, right, where you would like to run it only once, right? So this will only run once, run only once. It only run once, right? It does not keep on running every time, right? So what happens here is you will you will be so you understand, right, that if let's say you're saying that event is like you want to open a page, okay, you wanted to open a page, right, and with every whenever the page opens up, right, a new page opens up, you let's say you wanted to print something, let's say console.log page opened, right? Let's say you want to do this. Now if you use this within the on, right, and you open the page multiple times, let's say you open the page here, you said browser context dot new page. As soon as you do this, it will fire this code and it will run. If you do it again, right, it will again go back and fire this and run it, right, and run it. So you will see this code getting built twice. Okay, now here over here, right, run only once. In this case, if you run this code here now, right, if you have defined this and you say and you do new page, right, and again you what we will do is you will say wait for event. Sorry, you will define the action here, right? You will define the action here, whatever action you want to take. So you would be grabbing it somewhere, let's say P, and you will be saying P dot, okay, first of all, you cannot define the functions over there. Okay, what should I tell you? Okay, see, I hope this is clear, right? That every time you run the action, sorry, every time that event occurs, you want to take some action. Then this is the part. If you only want to run it once, then this is this part, right? I will explain this in a better way in the code. Second thing which you have to understand and remember this, right? In case of on, right, in this action method, right, where you define the parameters, right, every time, let's say in this case, the page is formed, right, a new tab is formed, right, and an object is formed internally, let's say, which is pointing to that page. Let me open the browser. So this is the browser. This will open a page, right? Let's say this page is notified with the object as p1, right? So at this point, right, so as soon as you do this, the control will go to this line here. Let's say you have used p here, right? We have understood that if you're using page event, what Playwright will do is Playwright will inject the page object to it, the page which is newly formed, which is this one, right? So in this case, p will receive p1, right? And if you want to do something about on the page, you can say p dot go to and all that, right? So it will be happening on this page, whatever is getting injected in the runtime. In the next case, if you open the page again, right, what will happen is a new page will open up. This time, this page is pointing to this, right? And this is, let's say, the object called p2 internally, right? Now what will happen is as soon as the page opened, the event is fired and the listener will be triggered and the action has to be taken. But here, this time, what will be the value of p here? It will not be p1, it will be p2. So you are getting access to the right page on the runtime, okay, again and again. So this is a very major difference, right? First of all, I mean, okay, this is how it works. If you compare this to wait for event, right? Here, what happens here, right? Wait for event, right, will give you the object, right, only once, like this, right? Because it runs only once. So if you open the page, right? If you open the page, right? You say browser context or new page. What will happen here is, right? You can say, you what will do is the p will receive a value. Okay, p will receive a value. Why it's not working? P will receive a value, and if you say go to, right, go to, what it will do is, see again, consider this way, right? So you have a browser. When you say new page, a new page opens up, right? And let's say this is pointed by p1, right? So since this runs only once, right? What will happen here is wait for event, right? Wait for event. It will receive the value p1, the object of p1, right, into p, and you are saying p dot go to, right? P dot go to. So what is p pointing to? P is pointing to p1. So whatever you hit, right? Say pot test. What will happen is it will open the URL here, right? And it will work. Great. Next time you do bc.new page, bc.new page, what happens here is it will open a new page for sure, definitely, right? And let's say this is internally called p2. But the problem here is p, right? P will not receive the new value. It has already been resolved and it already has received the value. What is the p pointing to? It is pointing to p1, right? So if you do p dot go to again, right? It will do on which page? It will work on this page, not this one. Okay, that's the major difference, right? That's the major difference. Is it getting better when we're discussing this time, Kiran? Are we understanding this point as of now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then let us see this in action, right? Let us see this in action. I think it will get better over there.
Yes.
So let's see here. We were discussing all this yesterday, right? Test case 7. Let me get a branch for today. Yeah, Kiran, please.
I think your voice is breaking.
What is it? Oh my goodness, sorry. Is it better now?
Now
No?
it is better.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, okay, okay. I might be very low. Okay, okay, fine. Right. So let me know if you feel the same again. Okay, check out. I'm checking out the branch for day 11. It's this 7, and yeah, let's work on this. So we were working on this part, right? So see this. What I will do here is, again, you can see, right? We were doing this thing yesterday. I'm using the on approach, right, of handling the event, and here I have defined the action to be taken, and here I'm injecting the object, right, and what will be injected in this case when we are passing, when we are trying to listen to the page event, it will fire, it will inject the newly created page object every time to this p. Okay, now if we go down, let me just comment this out. Here we are saying, let p1 equals to await context new page, right? Let me comment this all this out. Okay, so if you see, let me bring it up actually. Right, if you see this time, what is happening is I have created a listener, okay, which is listening on the event called page. So this is the first step. Now it will be waiting for the event to occur. Let's say the event occurred here, right? Context.new page. The event will occur. And the third thing is now it will have to take some action, right? So it will go and try to run this piece of code. What will the value of p? It will be pointing to the newly created page. And over there, it is saying new page created. It will just print this out. And let me also do one more thing. First of all, let's make it async. Async. And we will do what? We will await and we'll say p dot go to and we will hit the URL. Podcast.in. Okay. Oh, HTTPS, I forgot. Okay. So this is what it will do. So if I do this once, it will be triggered once and it will be happening. It will be doing it on that particular page, right? If I run it again, right, it will do what? It will again, it will again the event will be fired, right? And this piece of code will run. But this time it will be happening for this page, right? So P will attain the value of second page. Let's run it to see. Let's check out. So npx playwright test project equals to from. See what happens. Hey, hi Anand, hi Banjesh, hi Yashwadi.
Hi, Akhil.
Hey,
Hello.
Akhil, hi.
Hi. Okay, so we are just revisiting our yesterday's concept of the on event and the wait for event. Okay, so now notice that what is happening is I have registered an event for page. Okay, and here the event is occurring. As soon as the event occurs, right? See, oh, I need to wait. Okay, why it is failing here? Why did it fail? Why did it fail? Navigating, waiting until load. I am doing await. Action to be taken, right? Action to be taken. Maybe frame was detached. Okay, there is some problem. Okay, let me run it again. And this time I will wait. I will say await. Let's say, how do I wait? Let's run it again. Okay. Now there is some problem. What is the problem here? Navigating to waiting until load. How? Okay, I'll have to wait for the method to wait for load state. Okay. Load option returns when the required load state has been reached. This is also on the page which is the required load state load by default. The navigation must have been committed when this method is called. If the document has reached the required state, resolves immediately. Okay, DOM content loaded. Let me write DOM content loaded. Load state timeout. We'll talk about this, right? As of now, to just let's understand this way. I can provide a timeout. Let's say the timeout would be in let's say this one. Okay, let's run this now. No, there is some other problem here. Call log go to has a problem. Why go to has a problem? Parameter pp is a page which is getting injected every time, and it is saying await have Waiting until load. 30521. Oh, we should be good with this. Navigating to until load. Call log. Test ended. Navigating to waiting until load. Hmm. How to resolve error. Dum-dum-dum-dum. Navigating to until load. In Playwright. Encountering check the URL set navigation timeout. So I am waiting for it. Okay, here it is saying to add this. Okay, wait until timeout. Okay, debugging, check for redirects, wait for URL. No, we will use this part then. Go to okay, so we are okay with it. Let's run it. Yeah, Kiran, please.
I have wrote down the same code and it is working on my machine. The test is passing.
My problem, my machine has a problem. See, that's the problem here. I understand that part, but sometimes it's very hard to explain, right? The reasoning of the failures. And the way the logs are generated currently in Playwright is not really helping. It is not providing sufficient information for me also where I'm going wrong. Okay, okay. Let's. I will fix it. Okay, I'll tell you the reason also afterwards. But let's do one thing. What I will do now right now is let us try to avoid this part and let's just try to do some action. Okay, so I'm taking this action. Okay, whenever the page will open up, and what I will do here is async. I don't need to do async now since P we are getting. Okay, but I wanted to get the title of it. How to do it? Okay, for you it works, right? Just by doing this part, right?
Yes.
And for both the pages it is doing this, right?
I tested port test in.
No, no. I mean you have opened it twice, right?
Just once. I am trying with twice. Wait.
Yeah, yeah. Please try it twice and try to do. Okay, you're doing podcast.in. Yes. No worries. All right. Navigating to waiting until load. Okay, what all other values I can specify here? Wait until commit. Document loaded. Load network idle. Document loaded. You also try one last time. Async.
Now it failed.
It failed for both the things.
Yeah. Now it is failing for page go to. I think I missed the context of new page. I have to,
You miss context dot.
like creating new pages. I
Oh,
haven't created new pages earlier. That's why.
okay, okay, okay.
Sorry.
No worries. Let me try to do one more thing. Let me try it with one single page, right? So if I do this, let's see whether it works for me. No, for me, so it is failing every time. Okay, there is some issue somewhere, which I'll figure out. Okay, waiting until this. Maybe frame was attached. New page, context not new page, and this is returning the browser context. Okay, okay. Let's just park it away. Okay, I'll not waste time on this. We'll fix it tomorrow. Okay, I'll look into it. What I wanted to tell you here is, see here. If you look here, right, context dot on. what I was trying to tell you here is page is here. Let me just remove all this and make it very simple. So we have this context and there is an action which we'll like to take once that event occurs. Okay, and that action is says like this: log new page created, new page created. Okay, and in the end, what I would like to do is, uh, yeah, again,
I just found one way. If you
uh
run this test and open the report, can you please do that?
run the test and open the report.
Yeah.
Okay, with the earlier code, right? You mean?
Yeah, earlier code. Let it fail.
Okay.
And there's one new option in the error tab, copy as prompt. So I copied the prompt and pasted in the chat GPT and it showed the corrected code and that code passed
Is
the
working?
yeah it's working.
Okay. Okay, just a second. Let's try. P
The
dot
prompt
go
is
to.
pretty neatly written by Playwright team.
Great.
All the error logs, all the code that we have passed, and everything that is needed to fix the issue.
So why this is scrolling by itself? Okay, my system needs a restart then. Okay, just a second. Okay, now it's settled. Yeah. So I need to run this, right? Okay, let me run it.
We can create two new pages as well. Let's
Okay.
now can we run with headed mode, like UI
Edit mode.
UI mode? Sorry.
Okay, you mean in the UI mode. Okay. Right.
Yes.
So we are saying context dot on p dot go to console new page created. Yes. Let's run this.
Akhil, can you scroll a little how we are opening, doing that context.new page?
Where?
Uh, Below, where,
Here.
so we're directly using await context.new page. Okay. Two
Hmm.
times. Okay, okay.
Right. Right. We're trying to open two pages. Okay. So
Okay.
we have opened it in the UI mode here. So what you're saying here is,
In the errors, uh, first run the test if you want.
I need to run 7 tests, right? Let's
Yes.
run this. Pending, running state. It went here. It opened it perfectly here, right?
Yeah, the test is fine. But what I wanted to show is like in the error, there is a copy as prompt button. If you fail anything, and
Okay.
copy as prompt button involves everything: the code that we return, the error logs, the Playwright console log, and everything that is needed for fixing the issue. And I pasted the
Okay.
issue inside any ChatGPT bot, and it
So
is
you
very
were getting, so you were getting the error. You were getting the same error here also in the UI mode.
yeah, same error.
Okay. So can you, so you, if you have copied the code, can you please paste it in the chat?
Yeah,
Let me have a look into it.
yeah, sure.
But again, as you guys can see, right, it is working fine here. So there is no issue with the code, I believe, right? But again, I'll have to figure out why it is not running over there. In the UI mode, it is working, right? Okay. We have not talked about this UI mode in depth and all of that. But if you see this, has it ran or not ran? It has ran, right? So why it is not showing me anything on the screen? It should have shown me this. Okay, no. Is it waiting? I have a wait for pause. No. Okay. If you go to the console also, did it printed something? It is over here. Is it waiting for me? No. Oh, no, it is not waiting. It is just moving ahead. Okay, here we have tested. Okay, yeah. Let me just check instructions. Let me copy paste this and open it here. in a new file somewhere. Note.txt. Let's paste this. If we get the error, we'll check it over there. Following Playwright test failed. Explain why. Be conscious. Okay, you test case 7. This error details. Page go to error aborted.
This is not the full prompt that is given. It is pasting just 20 lines in the
Okay. Okay.
It's
So
around.
can you also paste after this? What did you got after this? Because this is the same thing, right? Which we got in this is all these details we were getting in our case also. Did you got more things about this after
Yeah,
this?
it's like 120 lines of prompt, but the Google Meet is allowing me only paste 20 lines.
Okay. So what is the fixed code? Can you just ping me that?
Wait a minute.
Let me see what mistake are we making in our logic. This is the same thing which we got till now. Let's run it one more time. So let me just close it. And if I the UI mode again.
The fixed code, I haven't read it before, but I don't think it is using the events.
It is not using the events. Okay. Okay. So it is using wait for load state, right? It is waiting for that part. Okay. Wait for page restore if needed. So you are doing what? Okay. This is the code. Okay. Let me first run this also. So we're running test case 7. Test case 7 is running. So it opened the tab. It has filled up both the pages. It has failed somewhere. Where did it failed? Okay, error logs, right? Test ended. Wait until this. Gracefully close start. Okay, I think we'll do the error handling. Okay, but
Yeah,
okay, copy prompt and what did you do after this? Copy prompt and then paste it where? On the ChatGPT?
Yeah, ChatGPT.
Okay,
compiled
okay.
it.
And then it gave you the answer. Okay.
Mm.
Okay, no worries.
But I think it will give you just anything to work.
Right, it will work. Okay, let me show you what he's saying. What he's saying is that you need to copy the prompt. So this will help you again, a nice feature in Playwright. Right. So let's run it. You do not need to write anything. So you can see test info. This is the test case. Test ended with this, and then test source. Okay, what is saying? The test failed because the page photo was made within a listener registered for the page event on the context. However, the test ended before the navigation could complete. This is likely because Playwright did not wait for the asynchronous event listener to finish its task before terminating the test. Fix to resolve the issue, ensure that the listener execution is awaited properly and that the test does not end prematurely. Use promise.all to wait for the new page creation and the navigation together. Okay, 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 no, okay. Sit. Promise.all we have not looked into, right? We don't know what is promise.all. We have seen promise.resolve, reject and all that, but not all. I was thinking of doing a session on it, but haven't got the time. Okay. Let's close all this. Okay. I think let's just okay. Let's do just one thing. Okay. Please ignore all this, right? As of now, I will do something about it and then maybe explain you better. At least this part, okay, the navigation part. But let's stick to what I wanted to share, which is this about the wait for event and this on part. Okay. Let's do that very quickly now. I will try to resolve this and show it to you, but I think we need more information about page first to get there. Okay, so if you see, right, what I'm doing here is I've written the code. This is the event which we are trying to register, right? And we would like to run it. We'll try to trigger this event twice. Okay, new page, new page. Now, this is for page, right? Let's do it for something else. Let's do it for console. Okay, I think it would be much more better. So let's say new console received. Okay, let's say this new console received. I'm not going to create a page because on the page side it creates a mess for me. What I'll do here is, so we have multiple events, right? We all know. So I'm working on this event of console. What I will do is I will collect if you see, right, what I will collect here is, it will give me CM would be what? Console message. Okay. So it will give me console message here, async, right? And what I will do is I will just say await, and I'll say CM dot text. Okay. So CM dot text is does not return your promise. It's a string. Let's ignore it and we'll just new console message received and this part, right? Now if you see, right, this is a one-time activity. I have to write it once only. I'm creating an event, I'm trying to assign the action on it, right? What action to be taken, and now I will do what? I will do this thing, right? I will say await context dot new page. Now I'm not listening to this event of new page. Okay, what I'm interested to listen is the console thing, right? That if some console thing happens on the page, it should be listening to it, and then this event should be fired. So we are saying evaluate, and evaluate needs a function to be passed in. Yes, a page function. So what I will do is I'll just call it like this, and we'll say console.log, and we'll say hello. Okay, hello. Let's say hello, and what I can do more is even.evaluate hello. Okay, let's say I'm printing this line as of now, and then this will be evaluate will be returning a promise, so I have to put in await, right? So this is one time it is doing, right? So what we'll do is you will see this hello Akhil being printed on that page, and let's just open the page also. Await p1 dot go to, let's set the URL https wattest.n. Okay, so this is also done. If you see this, right, what will happen is the event, the listener would be registered, and it will take this action if the event occurs. So let's go to next line. Here you're opening the page, event did not occur. You are navigating to a page, event did not occur. Here at this line, right, the event will occur because you're trying to call the console.log, right? And it will do what? It will call the console API on the browser, and you will see some text printed on the console tab of the browser. And it means the event is triggered. As the event is triggered, right, it will be notified and it will try to run this code. And you might see this thing, right, printed over here in our console log. So let's run it once and see whether it works or not. Okay, let's leave it like this. We'll go here and try to, okay, I don't need to run not.txt. Let me delete this. Not in the UI mode. Let's run it. But I should have paused this to show you. No, let's see. Hey, hi Harsh. Okay, so you guys can see, right? New console received, created, hello Akhil, right? This is getting.
So good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Right, so this is getting executed, right? Once this action was taken, let us trigger the event again. Okay, let us trigger the event again. This time I will say hello pot test. Let's run this. You can see, right, I am not defining what action to take again, right? It was placed once only, right? Once only. Now let's run this again. And notice what I'm printing. I'm getting access to the console message every time, right? This is the console message object, the new console message object every time, right? Whenever that event occurs. If you see here, right, what happened? Again, please understand this, right? What is happening is this is the event which you registered. This is the action which you have to take, and you're waiting for the event to occur. Where is the event happening? Here is the event happening. As soon as the event occurred, right, console.log, you would see this getting printed in the console tab of the browser. And as soon as it occurred, right, the control moved from here to this, right? And here, right, CM received what? CM received the console object which represents this console thing, which is hello kill. So CM is an object which is representing hello kill. And here, right, you are extracting the text from it and you print this line. Okay. Now in the second event, right, You are again triggering the event by doing this. Here, this CM as an object will receive what? Hello podcast, right? And that is what is getting printed. Okay, this is the behavior on the on part. And I told you, right? If I go back to our discussion again, what we are trying to understand is the difference between the on method and wait for event, right? So we were taking the example of page. Let's not take the example of page. Let's take the example of console thing, right? Just a second. There's the console part. Okay, so we are taking the example of the console, right? We're taking the example of the console. Let me open a new board very quickly. Sometimes little things takes too much time. But okay, fine, no worries. Okay, on, right? So we're trying to understand the difference between the on and the wait for event, right? At the browser context level, right? So here we are listening to the page event, right? Here also we are listening, sorry, not the page event, console event, console event, console event, okay, console event. Here in this case, right, we define the action here itself. What action we want to take, right? You will define here only. In case of this, right, you do not define the action in this line, you define it at some other line, okay? So this is, okay, so we are trying to understand the difference two. First of all, the major difference is this on, right, you should use if you want to trigger this action every time the event occurs. Run every time event occurs, right? And because of this, what will happen is if you pass the object, right, I mean, if you take the parameter inside these brackets of the function, this parameter, right, will receive the new object every time. Okay, new object every time, right? Uh, function parameter receive a new object every time once event occurs. Okay. Now, if you look at this part, right, you have sent you're doing context dot wait for event, right? And here what happens is you can't define the action in this, right? Where do you define action? You will have to say you're collecting console, right? You're trying to listen to this, so let's call it as CM. Let's CM equals to this. And what you will do is you have defined the listener here, right? So listener is registered. Okay, let me just write it here, right? So here in this case, right, if you see the difference in the two, it runs this every time the event occurs. Here it will run only once. Okay, it is meant to be created if you wanted to have a case where you wanted to run a particular action only once, right? So you should be using wait for event. That is the biggest difference between the two. It will run every time, it will only run once. Okay, second of all, it does not take the actions within it, right? If you want to take the action, it will have to come afterwards, right? Let me show you how. Now we were doing all this, right? Now I'm going to create the wait for event. So let's say await context dot wait for event. Now you have to tell which event you are waiting for. I'm waiting for console event to happen. Is it not giving me any? Yeah, it is giving me, right, console. Okay, now what does this event wait for event will return me? It will return me console message because I am listening to the console event, right? Let's try to collect this console message. Now, okay, one more thing, I don't have to use await. If you see this, right, wait for event is returning you a promise. Okay, is returning your promise. Okay, but I will not be using await. We'll discuss about it again. What I will do now is, let me take this up and place it here. Okay, I'm placing it here, and let me just comment this piece out. Okay, so I'm switching off my on event, the way we on listener, I should say. So now let's read this code. I'm creating a listener. Okay, I'm creating a listener here. So a listener is triggered, is being notified, not notified, sorry. A listener is created, okay, or I should say registered. Now we are waiting for the event to occur, and we have not defined the action also. So if you see the page is open, did the event occur? No. Here we are navigating to a page, did the event occur? No. Here when you do this, right, it will, here in this line the event will occur. Event will occur, right? Now as soon as the event will occur, right, the promise which has to be written from this wait for event, right? This promise, right? This part over here will get resolved. Until now, it was in the pending state. We know the states of promises, right? Promises has only 3 states: pending, which is the default state. If you're waiting for something which returns a promise, it will always be in the pending state. From pending, it can either move to fulfilled or to rejected, right? Here in this case, when this event will occur, right, the promise written by the wait for event will be fulfilled. Okay, as soon as it will be fulfilled, CM, right, was having what till now? Let me here, right? So CM over here, right? If you do this, CM is a promise in the pending state. In the pending state, right? In the pending state. So if you try to access CM before this getting fulfilled, you will not be able to do anything about it. Okay, you will not be able to use this actually, right? What you want to do is you want to wait until this pending becomes fulfilled, right, or rejected, let's say, right? In our case, we are hopeful and we think that fulfilled should be there. But when the fulfilled would be there, it will be only there when that event will occur, which is happening at this line. So as soon as this event occurs, right, what will happen is the control in Playwright will move to this wait for event, and wait for event will have a resolve value. Okay, a resolve value. And what, so it's a state, it tells you about the state, right? So it will be fulfilled now, fulfilled. And what does the CM will point to now? CM will be pointing to the object, right, returned from that event. What does this event returns you? It returns you console message. So CM will be having what? The console message output, the object of it, right? So here, once this occurs, right, you will have what? You will say CM here, right? And you will have to use await. CM dot await, right? And here you will say CM dot type. And you will do what? You will have to collect this. So you will say await here first of all. No, this will not be await. Type returns you what? It returns you the console.log, right? So we will just take this code also here, right? I'm doing this part, right? Now understand, right? CM will have, once this occurs, right, CM will be resolved, the promise of CM will be resolved, and it will be receiving what output? The object formed by this console thing, right? The console message, and the object would be holding this value within it, right? So CM has already been resolved, right? It has already been resolved. And now when you run this line, it will print you what? New console received created, right? And then you will do what? You're saying CM.type. Sorry, not type, text. We have to print text. So it will print you what? It will say hello, okay, right? Now this is done, right? Now if you take this up and try to do it here also, what output will you see here? Let me first run the above part just to explain this. Let's run this piece of code and see what happens here. Okay, so let's go here. You see, it printed hello kill, right? It printed hello kill. Why? Because CM as an object, right? The promise was resolved and it received the output as this part, right? Now, if I copy paste this line and run it again, right, over here, what do you expect it to print? Hello pot test? Hello pot test, right? Let's see whether it prints it or not. So it should be printing 2 lines for sure, but let's see what does it print. You see, what did it print? Hello kill. Why did it print hello kill? Why did not print it hello pot test? This is the major difference between the two. Okay, you have to understand this. You have to understand why would you choose that and why would you choose this one. Did anyone understood why it printed hello kill and not hello pot test?
The CM object contains the first registered event data only.
Right. And when did that CM object receive that value? On what instance? I mean,
when that wait for event got evaluated on the first console log.
Right.
Message.
And the promise was resolved, right?
Yeah.
The promise was already resolved. So So as per the functioning of JavaScript, what happens? If the promise is resolved, the object with the parameter to which you are assigning it, right? Here, the job for that promise is done, right? It is not waiting for anything to happen again, right? So what happened was CM for CM, the promise was already resolved. And since the promise was resolved, it has already attained the value which it has to receive, right? Which was from this object, right? So it received console message object, and where the value was this hello kill, right? So here, if you do this, yes, it is already done. But when you try to run this here, right, what will happen this time? This time it was not going to call this event again. Okay, it is not going to call this event again because this event is already resolved, right? There is nothing waiting for this to happen again. Getting it? There is nothing for this. It is not waiting for anything. If you want to listen again, right, and print this, you will have to copy this and create the event again. Getting it? You will have to do this. You will have to do this. And that's why I was saying there's a difference between the two, right? See, the work which you have to do to achieve the same part. In this case, you have to do these many lines. And in the earlier case, you were defining the action only once, right? And it was getting triggered every time the event was happening. And because of this parameter which you're receiving, right? This parameter is receiving the actual value, right? At the runtime, again and again, the new value, right? And you can take all the actions which you want, right? I hope with this, you understand at least this line, right? That this event, right, gets triggered every time. So this action, right, gets triggered every time when the event occurs. But in case of waitForEvent, it only runs once, right? So the lifetime. So if I say the lifespan, right, it is that it runs only once and it dies. Let's understand this way. But here it keep running as the event keeps happening. Okay. Just to understand the context, right? I gave you the example yesterday. If where you should use this and where you should use this one, right? Let's understand that you have a web page, where there is a problem that every now and then a dialog box opens up, right? And you do not have any control that, okay, when this dialog box will appear or not appear, right? Now you do not have a control. So in those cases, using an own event is the best choice to do. Okay, you will use what? Instead of using console, there is an event called dialog. You will then work on dialogs, okay, on that part. And whenever a dialog opens up, you can write the code here, dialog.dismiss. So now you do not have to worry about this. As soon as the dialog appears on the screen, Playwright will be notified. It will go and run this piece of code, right? And then dismiss the dialog box and it will go away. Again, it appears, it will again be closed, right? It will keep on doing this as many times as the dialog appears. Whereas if you have a case, right, where you know that, okay, there's a dialog box which will appear, right? Which will appear at a particular event. Let's say there is a button here, right? You clicked on it and you're aware that, okay, if I click on this button, a dialog box will appear, right? A dialog box will appear, right? But this can take some time, let's say a fraction of seconds or something, right? So what you should do is you should use this waitForEvent and put dialog here, right? Dialog here. As soon as you said button click, right? As soon as you do the button click, what will happen is in the page here, right, will open a dialog box, and as soon as the dialog appears, right, Playwright will know, okay, it was waiting for the event to okay, right? And this promise will be resolved. Let's say dialog, right? So you receive dialog, and what you will do is you will await. You know that after a click, a dialog has to appear, right? So you will say await dialog dot dismiss, let's say. So here you have a more control, right? Because the environment allows you to have the control, right? So in this case, waitForEvent makes sense, and you want it to only run once, right? This particular case. So the job of this event, right, listener is done here, but here it lives until that execution lives. I hope this is making more sense and you're able to understand this, right?
Yes, Akhil. Got the major difference that the on method runs for every time the event is occurred, whereas the waitForEvent event listener method will run only once when
Only
evoked.
Right. And the major difference here is the object, right, over here. This CM thing, right? This CM parameter, right, or whatever parameter you define in the function parameter, it will always receive the new value, right, of the event which has occurred. Whereas in this case, right, whatever you are assigning to a variable here, right, will only receive the first value, the first occurrence of the event. After that, if you want to use it, it will not be overridden. It will keep on using the older value, right? So if you want to use this event again, you will have to define this event again wherever you need this.
Understood.
Okay. Okay, great, right? And this is again a very good interview question again, right, for Playwright. Otherwise, Playwright is also simple, right? As like other things, right? You need to understand, although we have understood the ecosystem of Playwright, what is browser context and the page and how things are lined up, what is the protocol and all that. But this is again a very good question to which you can which someone can ask. Okay, so this should be very clear. And I wanted to focus on this very primarily because events is a very big thing in Playwright. Okay, it makes your life easy. So we should be knowing about it. Okay, I hope we are clear with this. So let's move ahead. Okay. Yeah, please, Harsh.
Hello, sir. Sir, so when the wait for event is triggered, the CM object is now acting as page. Like if we want to perform any, let's say when we click on that
Depends on which event you're listening. Which event you are listening? Page.
pop-up, sir, let's say pop-up.
Then you will be listening. Then you will be getting a dialog object.
No, sir, like I have seen one code in my framework. We are using wait for event. We are declared a variable pop-up promise, and then we used wait for event for that and wait for the pop-up and for that event to occur. When we click on that button, a pop-up like a browser page only it opens, and then we perform actions on that. So what we do is just like you have used CM, we use pop-up one variable pop-up, and then we use pop-up dot click and click on that approve button and all the whatever we want to do. So the page gets it acts like a page then.
You're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. So again, it depends on the context, right? But what I'm telling you here is, see, what we are discussing. We are discussing about browser context. If you go there, right, let's go to the event called dialog. If you see here, right, let us see. It returns your dialog object. Okay, it returns your dialog object. So on the dialog object, if you do this right, except part, right, it is going to return your dialog object only. On the dialog object, if you go right, you have these methods available. So and from the dialog, right, there is a page thing, right, which you can get access to. You're seeing this? You have to
Yes,
do
sir.
something like this. If you do this right, you will get a page representing the dialog box. Getting it?
Yes, sir.
The page that initiated this dialog, right, if available. So the source page, right, let's say you are on working on a page and you clicked on some button, right, what will happen is a dialog box will open up. So you have an overlaying screen on top of that page, right, the dialog box. Now what wait for event or that on thing will return you is it will return you the dialog object, right? Within that dialog object you have a method called page which can give you the reference back to the page which initiated this dialog, right? I'm sure you might be using this only.
Sir, we are not using just the pop-up dot. Not so we stored that. How can I
Dialog. So you wrote something like this. Let me try to write this. So you might have written something like this. See here. You would have done context dot wait for event, let's say, and you would have done dialog. All right, dialog, and you would have done let's say let
So
d.
we are not listening on doing on contact on page level only, like page dot wait for event.
Oh, you're doing at page level. Okay.
Yes, sir. So that's why I'm what happens? Then we can use I know it works, but
Hmm.
then we have to click on anything. Then we use page dot locator and then dot click. Similarly, that if when we are using this, then it have we use the variable which we are storing that promise. We pop up dot any let's say CM dot fill dot click any any methods of playwright we can use. So the page it how does that work? Page gets the page the
Okay.
I don't know how to say that.
No, I understand. Let's see. We have not discussed about the events in the page level till now. Okay, we have not discussed. This is yet to be covered. Okay, so
Okay,
maybe
sir.
maybe it will get notified. You will be able to understand this. If you see, right, these are the number of events which you see at the page level. We have discussed about the events at the browser level and the context level, not at the page level till now. Okay, but the functioning would remain same. If you see, right, you're talking about this event on the page level. If you click on it, let's see what does it return. It returns your dialog only, right? Emitted when a JavaScript dialog appears, such as alert, prompt, confirm, or before unload, right? So you will receive this dialog thing. Okay, now you can use this dialog thing to take some to do
Yes, sir.
on it. So, but again, right? I think we'll take this
The,
up right once
the
we
same
do
thing.
this. Yeah.
So can you see the use of the same thing we are doing, but using page dot wait for event, the same thing. So like in this dialog dot accept, so we perform another method. We perform a click. So how this dialog like so it
Mhm.
so dialog gets the properties of page, right? So that's why we are
No,
able to
no, no, no. Dialog will not receive the value of the page. Dialog will receive the dialog object only. If you want the access to the page, you will have to say dialog dot page.
okay, sir.
Okay. Dialog
Okay,
is a
sir.
separate object. Dialog is a separate object, and the methods available in dialogs are these, right? Accept, dismiss, default value, message, type, right? If you want the access to the page from the dialog, you have to use a page here, and it will return you the page object. And then you can do anything on it. You can say dot locator, or let's say get by role and all that, right? You can use all the locator strategies, and then after then it's a similar thing, right? Dot fill and dot click and all that. Getting it?
Yes, sir.
It has to flow through this the whatever library we have, right? So dialog is not equivalent to page. Dialog is a separate object. But using dialog, you can get the access to the source page using this page method. Okay.
Okay, sir. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I think okay. So we are good with this these two parts. So okay. So browser context again, right? So browser context, we are done with all the things, right? Which I wanted to cover. Okay. Wait for event again, right? You can see, right? It is what we have discussed, and I hope, right? Someone can also ask you, right? As I said, right? Someone can ask you why, if wait for event returns your promise, why are you not using await? Why you are not using await here? The reason for this is you wanted to register for a promise. That's it. And you would really wanted to have this behavior where the page promise, right, will receive the value of the resolved promise once this event will occur, and it is happening in this line. If you put await here, right, then you would keep on waiting for the promise to resolve, which will never be resolved until the event occurs, right? Getting it? Let's run this. If you did not understood this part, if you see this, right, if I use await here, we let's say context.new page, evaluate, hello Akhil, new console received created.
You are doing it on the second
Okay,
call,
yeah, I
right?
have to do it here, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, here await, right? So let's do it await here. Let's see what will happen now. Okay, let's see. So wait for event, right? Okay, let's run it and see what happens. See, it will keep on waiting, right? It will not do anything. You can keep on waiting whole day and it will not do anything. Because why? Because it is waiting for the promise to resolve. When the promise gets resolved, tell me, when the promise will get resolved here,
When the event will occur.
right? An event will occur when the action will be taken, right?
When the action
But
will
you
be
are stuck at this line because it is waiting for the promise. Where the event will occur? Here at this line,
here. Yeah.
right? So what will happen in this case if you do await here? It will keep on holding.
It will
So
hold
that's why
it.
it will just keep on holding this and wait for the promise to resolve, which will never happen. Right? So what you need to do is you need to just run this line of code. CM will receive a promise pending state, and CM will receive the once the promise gets resolved at this line, right? So because once this gets fired, this event would be notified, and now this event, right, will receive the promise as fulfilled, and it will receive the object called console message, right? And then you are making use of this, right? You are putting await here. Here you are waiting, right? Here you are waiting for the CM to be fulfilled, right? Because you know that after this line, the CM would have received, should have received the value, and the promise should have been resolved, right? So here it is important to write await here. Okay. This is all the fundamentals of JavaScript here being involved, right? But in a very nice way for this particular wait for event. Okay.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Great. So let's move ahead. So we're done with this, right? Now let's move to the next part of our learning, which is page part. Okay. Let's close this. So we are moving to page. Now page, right? So again, coming back, let's just revise this part. Page thing, right? So we're discussing about page. So what is a page? As we know, right? If you go by the hierarchy, you have a browser, right? Browser, which is like your just the browser name, right? Or the process which needs to initiate it. When you create a context, it creates a new browser session for you, right? Like an incognito mode. And a page over here, right? Looks like this. Okay, the page here, right, is representing a tab, like this tab, right? This particular tab. This is one tab. This is one page here. This is second page. This is third page. This is fourth page, and this entire thing is the context. Okay. Now we are going to discuss about page, right? So what happens here, right? If you want to do anything at this tab, right? Right, this thing, right? So it has to be done at the page level, which is this. What can you do over here? If you see this, right, I can hit the URL, I can reload the page, I can do a back button, I can do a forward button, right? I can do all the navigations. So all the navigations part, right, you can do here. What else can you do? There are some timeouts which you can add, which we'll discuss in a later class. Third thing, you can find locators on this page. Let's say you have a page like this. Let me open my login page now. So we are now moving towards automation, the the real web automation, right? So if you see this, right, this is our page. Now if I want to work on it, this is, I will open a new tab, which is this one. I will hit the method called goto on this here, right? So there's a goto method, right, which will hit the URL, this URL, right? And then I would like to find the locators of these fields to work on them. So there are locator methods available on the page side, right? Locator methods. What are the locator methods? We'll talk about all of this, right? Now, this is what is available at the page level in a nutshell. And there are events for sure, right? Which we have to understand again. So there are events again, right? But again, there is nothing new to learn up from this. Again, you will see there are a lot of on methods, right? On events, and the same events, right, are available at wait for event method. Okay. But now you understand the difference between the two, so it will be very easy for me to take this ahead and do all of it. Okay. Now, and there are more waiting strategies. There are more wait strategies which we can discuss, right? But this is in a nutshell, right? What page offers you. Let me just check. So this is context and all this, right? Right. So this is what we have. Okay. What we need to understand. Now, let us do a thing, right? Let us close this test case. Let me skip it. And what I will do is, I will create a new test case. Test case 8. Now tell me, if I want the access to the object, right, of the page, I want to open a new page. What should I do? What are my options? How can I open a new page?
Using page fixtures.
Page fixtures, which is the straightforward way, right? Because Playwright provides me. If I write this, what I have to do is, I have to just say, by just doing this part, right, I will get a new tab. Everyone agrees? If I just run this piece of code as is, let's see. But it should wait actually, but let's see. Notice what will happen, right? Notice this. By just writing this piece of code, right? It did not open. Why did not open? I should have said what here. I should say await. Okay, maybe let's do page.goto. Oh, it should have opened this up, I believe. Why did
Sir, curly braces. We have
Oh, I had not. Okay, my bad, my bad. I did not use. I did not use this destructuring, right? It is what is pending, right? This should have done it, right? Let's run it again. Come on. You see, a tab was opened up, right? By just writing this piece of code, a tab was given to us. But to create the tab, Playwright would have created a browser. It would have created a context, and then when that context would have created a page, right? And that page is given to you like this, right? This is one way of doing it. One way. Second way could be you could not use page directly. You would want to access context, let's say, right? Now, if you get the context, you will not see the tab. If you want to open a page now, what you have to do is you will have to say await context dot new page, right? This is what you have to do. Now, what will happen here is Playwright would have created a context for you. So what Playwright would have done is it would have created a browser. From that browser, it would have created a session, and on that session, you are specifically saying to open a new tab. This is what it will do. Let's see again. So you will see the same behavior as you were seeing earlier. It just see a tab being opened up. That's it. Context is the another feature, right? Fixture, sorry, right? So this is the same thing, right? Now let's say the third way approach, right? What you can do is you can directly access through the browser, which is the parent of everyone, right? Now this is the browser. Now at the browser, right? We have the browser. We do not have the session till now, right? So there are two approaches to do it. You can go sequentially from the browser to the context, and then from the context to the page. So you will do what? You will say browser dot new context first of all. You will collect it. Let's say c1 equals to this, and then you will do what? You will say await c1 dot new page, and it will have the same behavior. Why it is complaining? Okay, leave it. Right, the same behavior. The fourth approach. At the browser, right, they have provided you a handy method where you can directly create a page, but internally it would do the same thing. It would create a session first and then a page to it. Okay, so you can do also this part. You can say await browser dot new page. Okay, but you have to understand that internally it would have created a context also for it. It's just that it gave you a shortcut. Right, the same thing. Now I hope this is clear, right? Now to make things simple, right, what is the easiest way to work at a page level? Tell me now, out of all the four options.
page. Using page.
Directly use the page, right? Directly use the page. So people, you will
Yes.
see all the test cases using like this. You do not have to do anything. Playwright does everything for you, right? Okay, great. So we understand this part. Now, from the browser to the context to the page, we know the way to reach to the page. There is a backward way also, right? To move back, to get access to the context or to get to the access to the browser, right? You can do that. So you can do what? You can say at the page level. The first method which you should know is at the page level, you can get to the context. Context, right? The context. If you do this, right, it will give you the context, the section in which this page is open, right? Okay, why would I need this? Anyone? Any idea why would I need this? Tell me if anyone knows. Why would I need a context?
So that we
Maybe
can create two page objects.
we can create multiple pages within that context, right? By default, we were given one page, right? And we had the access to the page only. But let's say now I have a need where I want to open a second tab, right? How will I open it? Right? I can only open it if I have the access to the context. So I'm doing what? From the page, I'm going to the context. And now on that context, I will say new page. Okay, everyone? C1 dot new page. And this time you will see two tabs being opened up. I hope we are clear with this, right?
Yes.
Okay. And similarly, right, since you are from the page you move to the context, and from the context, right, if you want, you can move to the browser also. You can say c1 dot browser. What does browser returns you? It returns you a browser here, right? Why would you need a browser? Why would you need a browser?
To close the whole session, one of the use case.
No, the session you can also close at c1, right? If you wanted to, if you're interested in the context to close or the page to close, right? See, if you have only one page opened up, closing the page, right, will close the context. I mean, it will not close the context, I should say. But UI, on the UI mode, you will not see the browser running after this, right? Okay. And if you close the context, right, it closes the session. So there is no way for you to open a page now on that context. Okay. And if you close the browser, right, it means you cannot even open a new session now. Okay. So again, I'm asking, if I'm doing c1.browser, what could be my intention to do this? You are at the browser level. You would need the browser to maybe to open new sessions, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Instead of like closing the
say-
session, instead of using maybe creating new sessions.
Right. New sessions. You can also close the sessions from it, right? But I'm saying, just to do that, right, you do not have to go to the browser level. You can just go and close the page which you're interested in, right? Because at the end of the test case, Playwright is going to clean up all the things for you. Okay. Right, because it is going to close the context which it gave you, and this test case, right, which you have, and even right, this is how it works. Yes, sir.
So I was also watching the previous videos which I made. So there's this question mark here, B1 dot question mark. So what is this question mark? I don't
See, what
understand.
happens here is when you look at the browser part, right, it says it can return you a null or the browser, right?
Yes.
So if you remember, right, there is an operator in JavaScript which we discussed. I think it was called unity operator, using which you can combine multiple data types into one, right? And
Yes.
and then you can it's like you're saying that either that variable can receive null value or a browser value, right? So you can say, otherwise by default you do not have a variable which can accept both the values, right? In at least in TypeScript, right? In
Yes.
TypeScript you do not have by default a variable which can accept both things because you define the types. But in case of in TypeScript, you have a mechanism called union types, where you say, okay, that where you specifically say that this variable can hold either of the two values, either it could be null or the browser, right? Now when you do this, right, b1 here, right, it does not know because browser here, right, is written in null browser. So what happens there is question mark is for the case, right, like if it would have been totally browser, right, then the question mark was not required. But since there is a null, there is an uncertainty that it can also have a null, right, null value, right? So that's just to make things work, right? If you remove this, it will not work. It will not work, right? Because it knows that at the compile time, it does not know whether b1 will have a browser or not, right? So to remove that ambiguity, right, you're saying it can be anything, right? It can be anything, either a null or a browser. We don't care, and we take the responsibility of doing all this after this. Right? New context. So what happens here is it gives you the access to both the things, right, which it is attached to b1. So b1 could be null or a browser, right? When you do a question mark, you are specifically saying that this will be it. What more you can do is you can check here, right? Let's say if b1, we have a type of, right, I believe type of what we say browser, right? I'm forgetting how to write it. I think we do it in this way, type of. No, how do we write it? Type of view problems. No, not type of.
It's
Okay,
B1
no, our type
dot
of B,
type
right?
of equals to browser.
I think type of B1 equals to. Okay, we do not have this. We have not imported browser. Browser. Is browser right? Okay, why it is complaining again? Browser only refers to type, but is being used as a value here. Okay. Type of B1 goes to browser. No. Okay, I'm not getting it. Let's check. Uh, uh, Give me the code. The code to check the type of variable in TypeScript. So how we do it? Okay, type of malware, right? So it has to be this way. I have to put a colon after this. Type of this, but I'm doing the same stuff, right? Why it is complaining? Oops. Browser is not coming. If type of string number, it has to be in double quotes. I don't know. I'll have to check. Type of P1 is this. Oh, there is some mistake, right? But again, my point here is that what happens here is type of B1. Let me ask this only B1 dot what I was saying, new page, let's say. Right here, what it is complaining, this comparison appears to be unintentional because the type string boolean in browser has no overlap. But P1, we have to say P1 could be a null or a browser. Now, if type of B1 is a, okay, let me ask him the code. Correct the below code. So we are saying if, okay, we can do this, right? If it will have a value, right, it will not be null, right? And we can do it this way. So we can just check this part. At least in this case, right? This is also fine because this will only return true if B1 has a value, if it is not null, right, or undefined. So this logic will work. Right, Harsh? I hope you're understanding this, right? If you don't do this, right? If you don't do this, what the other option you have to do is you will have to put a question mark. You will have to tell, okay, that we don't know what could be the value, but once it attains it, right, we would like to call new page on it.
Okay, so the question mark is the same thing like that if condition, right? So
Right.
okay, got it.
Right. If it was null, right? Let's say, what should I do? Let me do this thing. Let me just make it null here. Right now, I am specifically turning this into a null, right? On the code level, right? So now my compile time also know that B1 is null. It is very sure now that because you have assigned null value to it, it knows that it is null now, right? So since B1 is null, right? B1 could have achieved a null value or a browser value, and it has received null. We are specifically saying it is null now. Now it knows that since it is null, new page cannot be accessed on it because null objects have nothing, right, on top of it. If you have a browser on top of it, right? If let's say I would have given it like this, let's say the same browser, right? Let me collect the browser from here. Okay, so if I would have given a browser to it, like this, there is no need for me to even use this question mark. Getting it? But since there is an uncertainty that it could be null or browser in this part, right? Because this returns you a null or a browser. Maybe the browser got closed earlier, right? So what this method will return you? It will return you nothing, which is null. Just to avoid that ambiguity, right? That there is a problem somewhere, you do what? You use question mark here. And this is how the TypeScript allows you to do things. Okay, this is just the way to write things, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what next? Okay, for today, right? Let's just wind up now. I want to show you one thing, right? So let's close all this. Let's come back to this part. So right, so let's say I wanted to write some code now. Okay, I want to write some code. I want to open this URL, which is my web application, right? Which is this code, login part. So let's open this URL. Let's come here and say await page dot go to, and I will do this part. right? I'm doing this thing, right? So I'm trying to navigating to a URL, which is this one. What else would I like to do? I would like to work on these fields, right? Let's find an inspector for it. So we'll go to the part. Let's close all this. Let's do a control F, and we'll write an next path. So let me find the email field. This is the email thing, right? So let's collect this. So we'll say, which is input at the rate name equals to this thing, right? So you got this here. You will collect it. Now see what I will do. I will say wait page dot. Now there are a lot of methods within the page, right? There are so many of them, right? But what I'm telling you right now is the specific one, which is this locator. Okay, the locator part. So this is the method, right? This you can understand this locator like find element, right? And within that find element thing, right, you provide the XPath, CSS path, right, which you can write. So in our case, locator can accept both the stuff. You can specify a CSS path, you can specify an XPath, and both will work. And you do not have to specify that it's a CSS or an XPath. Playwright is intelligent enough to understand this, and it will be able to take it up. Okay, so we'll say locator, and will provide the value, right? Now this will be able to find the element on the screen by using the XPath strategy. After this, right, what does locator give you? Let's see. Let's understand this part. What does locator give you? It gives you a locator object. Now, what is a locator object? For to understand the locator object is this one. Where is it? This one, right? So locator object is like it is representing the web element on the page. Okay, the web element on the page. Now on the web element, you could do anything, right? You would like to click, you would like to copy this, you would like to, let's say, fill something, right? You would like to do clear the part, click on it, double click and all that, right? All the actions which you can take on an element, you will have to do it at the locator level, right? So this is the class for it, right? And these are the methods available on it, right? So let me draw the complete picture now, right? This is the browser. From the browser, you create the context. This is the context. This is the browser. This is the page. And on the page, right, you can have elements, right? So this is element 1, this is element 2, this is element 3. Now this elements, right, are represented by locator, right? So this is page. So within a page, you can have multiple elements, right? All things within the page are elements only, web elements. But what do we notify them with as locators, right? So these are all locators. And on the locator, right, you can do anything. You can do a click, you can do a double click, you can do fill value, right, and all that. So all the methods which can be done on an element are available from the locator library. But you get access to the locator from the page. And for getting access to the page, you get it from where? Context. Context, you get access from the browser. Is this picture very clear now? Because in Playwright, these are 4 different objects available, right? That's why you have to understand this very specifically. Okay. Let's go back here. Let's complete one flow now. So we did this, right? So you got access to the locator. Now at the locator, if you see, right, there's a method called fill, right? Sets a value to the input field, right? So you can do just fill and set a value to it. Let's go there. We'll say dot. And okay, also understand, right? What does locator did you? Locator did not return you a promise. It gave you a locator, right? A locator. So if you see, right, await is complaining right now that, okay, why did you use await? Since it is not resolving to a promise. Okay, we understand this part, no worries. Let's put a dot. Let's do a fill here. If you see fill now, right? Fill returns your promise, right? And that's why a single await will suffice my need. And this is okay to have. And I would like to fill akhiljda@gmail.com. Right now, let's use it again and let's set page dot locator. And this time here I was using XPath, right? This time let's use the CSS path just to make my point. Password, right? This is the thing. So what I will do is for CSS, you do not need to write any of this. You do not need to write @. You need to use only the password. password, sorry, name equals to password. Name equals to password, right? So this is the CSS path, not the X path. Copy this out, come here, printed this, and let's say fill. I don't know. This is the password, I believe. Yes. And the last part is we'll make a click on the sign button, right? We'll come here, click on this. This is the sign button is this one, right? So let's use the this here, right? Button type submit. Let me use CSS path again. Button type equals to submit. CSS path. Let's say await page dot locator says dot click. Okay, and the last part is we'll just try to wait for the page. We would put a pause on it. Okay, now let's run the test case very quickly. Let's see whether our automation happens or not, or if we get some load strategy kind of an error. Hopefully we don't, because we have not learned about the loading strategies. But if you see, right, bingo, right, we were able to automate. Right? Okay, why is it running in the debug mode? Because I put a pause, right? So you can see it did the execution, right? I hope this is clear, right? What I did. Now, yes, sir. Is it clear, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. All right. I know like people would be happy now because we are finally moving to the automation part. This is what we wanted to learn. But again, right, I keep saying this again and again. If you don't know the fundamentals, none of this will make any sense or will benefit you. Okay. It's true for Selenium, it's true for WebDriver, it's true for this also. Okay, one last thing. If you see this, right, if I have to do all this, right, I have to go and inspect the element myself and do all the stuff. Playwright has a very good utility where you can avoid all of this. What you can do is there is a utility here which is called code generator, okay, which is like a recording utility, right? You can record your transactions on the page. While you record the things, it will generate all the code for you, and then you can use it for your automation. Let's see how. For doing that, you will say npx playwright CodeGen, right? Till now I was writing npx playwright test to initiate my test execution. Here I am saying npx playwright code generate, right? It will open a recording utility. Let's see how. You see, right? Let's see which browser it opened up. I hope it will not get closed. This is a Chromium, right? It's not a Chrome browser. Okay, it's not a Chrome browser. So by default, if you open this, right, the code generator, it will open your Chromium browser, right? The browser which it has downloaded by itself, right, for the Playwright, coming from the Playwright the ecosystem. Now, if you see, right, this is the thing, and this is the part which you see here, right? Okay, I did not see. I did some event, right? I did a right click on it, and you can see it generated a code for me, right? I don't need this code, but let it be. I will now hit the URL which I was trying to hit here. Let's go back. This is the URL for me. I will copy this up. And this keeps looking at the code, right? Let me just try to, okay. Anything I do with the browser, right, it is getting recorded. Let's remove this, hit this URL. Now see, you see page.goto, right? It generated the code. Now I wanted to work on this, right? If you see, right, see the power of Playwright or this CodeGen. I'm just hovering over it and it is giving me, right, some locator strategy. We have not looked into get by role or the other strategies, but there are so many strategies available, right? And okay, let's see it, right? So I clicked on email, right? You can see it has taken the click also, right? It has taken the click. I clicked on it and I will say Akhil jda@gmail.com, right? Now if I press a tab also, right, you will see it has taken that tab also, right, and it's generated a code for me. Now what I'll do is I'll say password. I'm pressing a tab again. It generated a code, and let's say enter. It will do a sign in. It should do a sign in if it is clicked on sign in, right? No. Okay, it did not. Maybe it did not. The control was not there, right? Now you can see, right? I was able to record my thing, right? And it is all generated here. Okay, great. So let's expand this up. If you see this code, right? This is what it generated for me, right? What you can do is you can generate, if you see, right? You can generate this piece of code. It has currently generated in the Node.js library, which is our purpose, right? If you are working on Java, right? You could generate it using this, right? The Java utility. If I see JUnit, right? You will see the code written in Java now. This is Java code. If you are someone coming from .NET and you wanted to learn MS Test and all that, I don't know what that is. So this is what the code for it, right? So it generates the ready-made code for you to start with, right? And mostly people use this utility, right, to generate the code. And then what you can do is, so the code is generated. We'll look at these parameters maybe in the next class. But what I would suggest you is, what you can do is, here, right, what does it do? Clear, no. Toggle, no. What we have to do is, we have to copy this, right? What we will do is, this is the test runner. Just come here, copy this piece of code, Control C. I think there is a copy option here, right?
Yes, sir. Here.
Copy, right? So you can just copy this from here. And then what you can do is, you can come back. Let me get a test case. Like this, right? And now you can change this, right, as per your need, but you have a reference to work on. Okay, and this is how things work. So CodeGen is a very good utility, and we will use it, right? And you can see, right, as of now, if you would see, right, it has used to find the email field, right? We were using this locator, but here it is using this locator, right? This strategy, this part. Okay, so it varies, right? So what I want to tell you is there are a lot of locators available at the Playwright level. So if you go at the page level, you will see many of them. Get by alt text, get by label, get by placeholder, get by role, right? So all of these are available here, right? We have not looked into it because we will go into it one by one. But what we have used it, we directly use locator. So you should use locator if you are interested in writing an XPath or a CSS path, right? Then locator should be used. But there are other strategies available, which are these. And while you work on Playwright, right, recording thing, most of the time you will see that they are using this get by this inbuilt locator strategies being used by Playwright more, right, instead of using locator part. Okay, so but again, we have to understand how this works and what all these are. So we'll look into it. And I think we are good for today. And let's just, we don't want to record, right? We want to stop. I think just stop this and just close this part. Let's close this and we are good, right? Okay, I think we are done for today. There's nothing else I want to cover as of now. Any questions, any queries, anyone? No?
No.
No question.
Maybe we'll be coming back after practicing this stuff.
Great, right? So, right, but again, I just want to convey with it is the start of our at the page level, right? This is where I wanted to reach, but it took us 10 days to reach here. But now I hope, right, we'll be on this page only and able to cover all these scenarios, right? We want to work on drop downs, click buttons, right? But first of all, in the process, right, we'll be understanding the page library in depth, like we have been doing for all the other stuff, right? There are a lot of things to learn from here, right? Understand this. We have to understand keyboard, locator, logger, mouse, page, right? Selectors, locators, JS handles, frame locators, frame, right? File choose, element handle. There is so many things which are here, but you have to understand for what Playwright has done is it has created a separate object for all separate entities. Okay. Until unless you understand the ecosystem, the whole ecosystem, you will not be able to understand it completely, right? But again, we have reached to the stage where we can start working, we can start interacting with the page. And I'm sure now, I think in a week's time, we'll be making very good progress and we'll able to cover all of this and most of the scenarios of the web automation. Let's say working on drop down, web table and all that. Okay, yeah, please. Someone was trying to say something. Yeah, Kiran.
Yeah, so in Playwright, most of the thing revolve around the pictures.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely correct, right? Because it takes away the pain, right? You do not have to create a page yourself. So you use that. Now there is the fixtures which you're currently seeing, browser, context, and page, are the ones which are provided to you by Playwright. But what you have to understand is what is fixture all about. It is like a utility which you can inject at a runtime whenever you need this, right? As per your will. So Playwright also has a mechanism where you can create your own fixtures also, okay, which are called as custom fixtures. Okay, we'll see like how to create those fixtures. We'll create one of them and see like how to use this and what could be our use case. But to reach there, we'll do it after all these things are done. Okay.
Yes.
Right. Okay, great. Thank you so much for joining today. Have a nice weekend. We'll meet on Monday now. Okay.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Kiran, you want to ask something? Yeah, please.
Yeah. So the custom fixtures are very helpful in framework building, right?
Right. They are right. They are. That's why you need to know about them.
It's like one of the design pattern we can say for the Playwright.
Right. It's more like dependency injection, right? It is using dependency injection as a concept over here. But you have to understand in Playwright how do you achieve it,
Yes.
right? So that is the part we have to understand. Otherwise, we know like how to inject it. We just need to give the name. But how to create the fixture itself is a new learning which we'll have to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Great, everyone. Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's meet on Monday. Bye.
Have a nice day. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.